Secret friends, unite!
Hey, welcome back to Secret Friends Unite. This is episode 545 under the new All Thunderdome banner. I am Charlie. And in this show, we cut out all the mismatch and just talk about a fun topic. I've got a brand spanking new guest with me. Actor of stage and screen in productions like Star Trek Picard, the third season, the greatest season, Doom Patrol and MacGruber. I still haven't seen that movie. I guess I got to get around to it. And I got to finish Doom Patrol too. But this is Stephanie. I'm going to get it right. Czechowski. Stephanie,
Correct. Hello. Whoa! Like you have to have a little button where you push where it's nothing but applause. Applause, applause, applause. Hello.
I need an applause button. Push the easy button. Welcome.
Exactly.
It's awesome to have you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
You're absolutely correct. Well, no, it's my great pleasure. Anytime we have anybody know any of our programs, we always ask the very simple question: what is your geek origin story? How did you get into loving the life, the pop culture, the stuff that we enjoy?
My geek origin story is kind of a mishmash a little bit because I used to watch in syndication Batman and Robin. I loved Catwoman. I had Wonder Woman underoos. My first movie that I ever saw in the theater was Star Trek. And on my ninth birth was the original movie. Star Trek, the original movie. Like
TMB.
It was TMB. Yeah, I was like 4, I think. The original motion picture. And for my 9th birthday, my mother took me, I'm from Wisconsin. My mother took me to Shopko and said I could buy anything in the store. And what I chose was the soundtrack to Empire Strikes Back.
My first movie in the theater.
So that we could, my younger brother and I could play with our Star Wars stuff with the soundtrack behind us.
That is
so
awesome.
It's a super mishmash. Like it really, and then later in life, I was never a huge comic book reader until I started dating people. Like I started knowing people in comics. I had an ex-boyfriend so it was like every part of my life, it slowly emerged in. But it's also just a genre that I really like. As a performer, it has always been a bucket list to go to Comic-Cons and sign things. And I have managed to cross that off my bucket list. It's pretty amazing.
Awesome. Good deal. Good deal. I love it. Very good. Well, speaking of that, and we've talked largely about DC Comics in what you had referenced. I'm a big Marvel guy, but this show that we're going to talk about, plus other projects by the creatives behind this, have pushed me into kind of a DC mode in the last few months. Like just today, and I just did a social post about it a couple of hours ago about how I'm enjoying the animated new history of DC Comics, which is a miniseries that just came out that goes through.
I have not watched it. Yeah.
Everything. It's a 4-issue miniseries. It's from soup to nuts. I would recommend it, but I was going to say anybody who's listening to me who wants to hear my take, go watch our YouTube channel. But we are going to be talking about we're talking about the works of James Gunn and the show Peacemaker, the second season, which wrapped up just a few weeks ago. This is going to be kind of both barrels open. It's going to be spoilers. If you've not seen the show, it's on HBO Max.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah, what are you waiting for? Come on. There are 2 seasons out there, obviously. I would go watch it now. So I'm going to give you a spoiler indication. And then we're just going to jump right on in. We're not going to get super granular. I'm not going to walk you through all, how they have 8 episodes because that would be silly. But we're going to talk about what we enjoyed about it, favorite moments, moments we could have done without, maybe some missed opportunities, and invariably what comes next. So, let's jump on in. So tell me about did you find Peacemaker from the beginning, like when season 1 for a few years ago? Or did you find it when this came on? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, by default, not that I'm like pro Marvel, pro DC, like I love what James Gunn does. Like I loved what he did with Marvel stuff. And so when he took over DC, I was incredibly excited. Like, I saw Suicide Squad and I was like, okay, let's go. Because I think the thing that, Marvel has done a pretty good job at, but it's taken years. Like, if you really go back in the history, is specifically in more modern years, with the Avengers and stuff, is they've really started to find the characters and find really good story. And the thing that he brought to, Guardians of the Galaxy, in addition, was a humor and a playlist. Like, his musical taste is off the chain. And to see him in Suicide Squad, and then John Cena, who I had enjoyed as a human, as an ex-wrestler who's become an actor, I was super excited. And I mean, I was obsessed because I think Peacemaker 1 dropped during the pandemic, or right, like, in 2021, maybe?
2022, I think.
Was it 22?
It was probably filmed during the pandemic.
Yeah. I know it was pretty early because Wigwam, Do You Really Want to Taste It? I love that song and that choreography. I was like, so I thought, so the choreography by Charissa Barton, who, is Adam Tudyk's wife, like, I just was obsessed. And so, and literally, I mean, forever, I'd be like, I teach fitness classes and I teach them at like 6:30 in the morning. And if I had to get in a good mood, I would like ramp myself up by playing Do You Really Want to Taste It? So I'm just, the whole thing,
Yeah.
So I was fully in all the way through the first season. And then, second season, I'm like, all right, let's go. And I mean, I have to say, like, when I saw that both my husband and I were like, they didn't use the same. Like, it took me a while to get used to the new theme song. I like it now.
Oh, I'm over the moon about it, and I even have some of that in my notes.
Yeah,
I had never heard it, and my wife looked up when she says, Foxy Shazam is the band. They've been around since the early 2000s. This song is from 2010. Like, it's an old song. They're from Cincinnati. I'm like, these guys look like, you would have seen them in Studio 54. They look like very New Yorkish kind of guys, and they're from Cincinnati, which just could not be any less than New York if you've ever spent any time there.
I mean, that is one of my favorite things about what James does is he, like, the way he creates his worlds and then punctuates them with the music. I'm always just like, oh my God, like, his soundtracks are incredible. Like, DC should have its own its own playlist. You just look up, and I think they do. I'm just, but.
I think there is one out there on Amazon, at least for the first season, because I think I got it and snagged it because that's how I'm an absolute music junkie, so I have the Amazon Music Plus whatever, because I use it all day every day. That's and that's one of the playlists I have. So. All right, so it was. I put the last part first, so we're gonna skip the give me your score. I have no idea why I put that up front, but let's talk. We'll go onesie twosie. Let's talk. Like a favorite moment. If you've got like 5 or 6 of them, hit me with one. A favorite moment from the season.
I love when they roll into. I have so many moments, but like I love when they roll into Vigilante's like house and there's just a bunch of money and coke. Like, I'm just like, what is happening? I love that. I love the moment when Judo Master and I'm going to say her name wrong. Abadu.
Ads. Just call her Ads.
Ads are playing Scrabble once he's rescued her after she's been. They're sitting in that house, like hiding from all the white supremacists because they're on like basically what Earth X.
Yeah, and, Earth X, Nazi Earth. Yeah,
the Nazi Earth. I'm like, in particular those two, and then when both Adrians meet each other, like that interaction of playing against each other, both vigilantes, like Vigilante version 1, version 2, there were so many just little, Michael Rooker and Eagle, like just all these little moments that I'm just like, that so just make this show. And unequivocally the moment where Harcourt looks around and is like, where are all the people of color?
Yeah, right.
Like, the slow realization.
Right.
And that, and then you see the Nazi flag and you're just like, because it was so layered in. And sometimes stuff like that is so like nail on the head, especially in the world we're in right now. Right.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But it's just so subtly done. And I, as a viewer, also as someone who is white, went, oh my God.
Yeah.
How long did it take me to recognize that too? Because it is that thing of like when I'm talking to my Black friends of just about things that I noticed just because because I've been how I've been socialized. Like there's just so many wonderful things of that. But in particular, and then when Harcourt goes in, just to start a fight. Like when she goes into the fucking bar, it's just like beating the shit. Like it's just like beating the shit out of people.
I don't understand how they, obviously they don't want to compromise about how she still has any teeth left in her mouth. She should be so much more beat up with all of the stuff that she's doing. Yeah, that was my number one favorite moments on Earth X, and it was played for laugh, but it was absolutely horrible. And I watch a couple of different breakdown channels. I think I watch Screen Crush and I watch New Rock Stars, and they had been talking, well, we think this is Earth X because of this and that. And do you see how the little flags rolled up on the desk that you can't, instead of the stars and stripes, it is a swastika. But that's the thing that Chris finds at the end of episode 7, and he just kind of instinctively picks that up and looks at it, which is just by somebody's desk. But then when they roll into the next one, Hargrove points out that you see that there's no people of color, and then there's copies of Mein Kampf on different people's desks.
Yeah,
and then what about the big Hitler mural? And then he says, "Okay, I can't believe I missed that one. That was." It was horrible to laugh at it because it's a horrifying thought. Yeah. But yeah, and it just went very rapid fire. I think that was the end
episode
of
5,
six going into 7.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Ignorance is Chris is the name of episode 6.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
I'm guessing that's the one. But it was at the end of the same episode that adds is she's just taking a walk down the street because they're holed up in Peacemaker's dad's house and nobody else's home, her and Economos, and she just walking down the street, and a couple of people are kind of giving her the stink eye, and then Chris's dead brother drives. Keith stops by and he says, "One of them got out," and you're like, "Oh God!" It just hit every viewer like a ton of bricks.
Yep. But that's why, because you're just like, oh my, what? Like,
yeah, right. Oh my God. All right. What's another one?
Another
favorite moment.
Again, yes. I'm like, at the very end when they introduce, like, I love when he does stuff like where they set up stuff for the next thing, like when at the end that there's the reveal of Checkmate at the end, which because it's basically like almost. I feel like it's the thing of like, oh, and I'm jumping, I'm sorry. Is the thing where like, oh, this is where we're going next. Like it makes me go, oh, we've set this up. So we're going, we're going to go. And the creation of all of the little worlds, all of the other dimensions.
God, that whole last episode with the little imps that ate the guy's face.
Oh my God. Yeah. The little man, and just the way in which Flagler Senior is just like Grillo's phenomenal, and just being like, yeah, whatever. And there is that moment where as they're like just watching these poor, let's pull in another thing, red shirts, like they're sending these people out, they're dying, and then they're sitting there just doing lines of coke and dancing it up, and the contrast, like I love the contrast of that. I love, I just love the contrast of it. Like the things I like the most are how we start to see these characters, because I feel in season 1, we got to see who Chris was, have a better idea of Chris was. And this season is about getting to know the rest of this motley family,
Right. Watching them break apart and come back together again. I said, focusing back on Frank Grillo as Flag Senior, watching his complete kind of scorch the earth heel turn where, if you saw, did you see the Creature Commandos, the animated one that came out before this?
I did not.
Okay, I would recommend that. Flag as a central character in that, and it's animated. And again, it's by Gunn and it's on HBO Max, so it's easy to watch. But it set this up, and there were certain hints about he came in and said, "Yeah, I broke my back," because that happens in there, and he obviously gets it repaired through superhero magic or whatever. But in that, he's kind of a grayish hero, which is funny. It's funny. His hair is gray. His hair and his beard are gray, and then in this, they're not. So whatever healed his back, obviously, cured his gray hair. I guess I could use a bit of that myself. But watching him do this heel turn, which is fun, John Cena heel turn, to go to this complete scumbag villain, Superman was in between this and that, so he was in that too.
Yeah.
Obviously, being kind of not such a great guy, but you're like, he's a little gray. But in this, he seizes on the complete villainy of revenge, and so Flag, they black bag Chris, they throw him through the door into Salvation, the world wherever it is, and then he ends it by saying, "This is for Ricky, you piece of shit," and he pushes the button. So it's just like it has nothing to do with but anything but revenge. No matter what, why Chris found himself in that situation or good things that he's done. And so that leaves us for kind of the future. But I found it like really satisfying and in its unpredictability. I didn't necessarily expect a happy Scooby-Doo ending, because even though they founded Checkmate, and there's the musical number at the end where Harcourt and Chris are there and enjoying each other's company, and so you're like, it just can't all be good. And then so it was unpredictably predictable, I guess, in a way to kind of see it go that way. I did love like you were talking about Vigilante, like Adrian, his like season-long gag about the bugs and the critters and the animal facts that he didn't know any of them, but at the end of it, and Tim Meadows' character are sitting there like really bonding, and it was like, but again, it was really setting us up for that kind of that Scooby-Doo ending that we weren't going to get. So
or you get a minor Scooby-Doo, but it's so weird because it's like they go set up some stuff, but you're not sure how it fully pays off.
Right.
Like they go into the office, they set up, the money and the Coke and the name, but then our next thing is we see him be black bagged and taken away. So it does leave, even though, it does leave us going like, what's happening next? Like what happens next season? How does this, keep going? I do think it's really interesting, the realization or just the moment when Peacemaker kills himself, it's just like this journey of like, he's killed his brother and then he killed his dad and now he killed himself. And but also just that moment where he's just like, oh shit. And he's trying to save himself just because of it's funny, but it's not, right? It's this, it just takes you on this, it takes you on such a great journey of, I think, humanity, of like really having to look at yourself fully, or look at himself fully as like a fully flawed human being,
Yeah, absolutely. No, I absolutely dug it. I think if I was to look at missed opportunities, I both loved and I disliked this part of it. When they did a recap, like previously on Peacemaker, there's a lot of talk of what happened pre-Gunn. It's kind of like you'll appreciate this as a Trekker. Literally, Star Trek the animated series. Gene Roddenberry didn't love it after the fact and said, no, it's not really canon. But over time, with things like Lower Decks, they've kind of snuck things back in, and they did that a little bit with TNG and a little bit with some of the other shows as time went by. So Gunn is doing that with Snyderverse is a dirty word. I hate to even say it. Yeah. But he, in that little recap right before the show comes on, right before the season started, they recut portions of that last of the third act of the final episode of the previous season. So you see ads on the phone. It's like where previously she said, "Can't you guys send the Justice Gang?" She says, "Can't you send the Justice League?" Became Justice Gang. And then our people are walking away after blowing up the barn and killing the cow in the beginning of or at the end of the last season. And your silhouettes in the distance are the characters that we've met in the DC Studios verse. And they have, instead of it being a dialogue exchange between Momoa's Aquaman and then Ezra Miller's Flash, they now stick in Fillion and Hawk Girl. I'm going to draw a blank on her name.
Oh, yeah. A Falcon Girl? No.
But so my kind of like, I love that, but I'm like, what that we went back and watched season 1 again, and that is not changed there, which I think is kind of a bummer. You know what I mean? So along the spirit of like, well, I kind of trickled in the things that happened pre-me, like guns thinking. I trickled those things back in, but other stuff I just kind of leave. I guess, I feel like with a modicum of effort, they could have plugged that back in, but it's like a very, very little wrinkle. It's not even the thing that I really disliked about the season, which I'll talk about when I give my rating. So there's a lot of speculation, like you said, about what's happening next. Gunn has either come right out and said, no, there's not really going to be a third season, but the characters are going to proliferate into other projects. And obviously there's going to be a conclusion to Chris being stranded on this planet. And it's going to it's going to tie right into the plot line of Superman Man of Tomorrow, which comes out in 2027, because that's going to be Lex and Superman have to work together to stop something. Well, does it have to do with, are they working together to stop Argus because of this planet? And why is Lex doing that when essentially it's his cronies? And I loved how they worked back in characters from his gang from Superman.
The guy, whoever that actor is with that mustache and those big Coke bottle glasses. I don't know who he is, but I'm like, yes, you. Yes,
you. And the heavier black guy whose name was Otis, which is of course was Ned Beatty's character in Superman 78.
Right.
So that was they worked all that, and then one of the other women characters at Economo says that while he's trying to distract them, he's telling a terrible joke, and then he says, "Being such a hideous bitch," or he says something to her. She was in the film as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speculation there's not going to be a third season, but there's Checkmate. It was Checkmate that did come from the comics going back a ways.
Yeah,
and it was kind of like a spy agency or some such. So I feel like that's going to come back around.
Yeah, because Deadshot's in it and stuff, and because that is his thing. Like, is pulling up these obscure characters, which is great, and bringing them into this universe to at least be there to then set them up, for later.
Right, exactly. So, and again, the Creature Commandos, which I implore you to go watch it. It's definitely worth the watch. And it's animated, but it's very raw and violent and bad swears. It's like Peacemaker if it was animated.
Yeah. Well, it's like Harley
pretty
Quinn.
much.
Harley Quinn's
I finally got around to finishing that, and I'm like, why didn't I finish this around the first time? I love it so much.
Yeah. Because when you finish it, it's over, and then you're like, more.
That's a very good point. I feel like those characters from Creature Commandos will also get dumped on Salvation, because remember, Flag and the Coke Bottle Glasses guy were having the UN meeting with all of the characters that we knew from Superman who were in the Pentagon, saying we want to get rid of all metahumans flat out. Don't care. We don't want to put them in jail. We want to take from places like Belle Reve and Arkham, and we want to just dump them on this other planet because they can never come back. So I feel like that's what he's gonna figure out to do with these other characters, and that's how we'll see them again.
Yeah.
And for me, the showdown that it has to happen with Chris and Flag Senior is absolutely can't miss, because now Chris is not going to hold back. Because you remember that whole scene where Chris was so racked with guilt because he killed Flag Jr. that he just Brillo beat the shit out of him.
Oh God, yeah. He just sat there and was like, okay, I'll take it. Okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And also
he's not doing it anymore.
Well, and you also have him having the guilt. Like it's like he's allowing the beating. He's allowing the beating of killing himself and killing his brother and killing his dad. He's just like, okay, go. Yeah. It's like, it's kind of that thing of police or may have another,
Well, that was another one of my absolute heartbreaking favorite moments, was when he just hits rock bottom and he's holding Keith's bleeding body, and he just screams because he's fallen below he's fallen below his lowest.
Yeah.
Because he's like, all these everything that I touch, everything that I do is just destroyed.
Yeah. That monologue at the end, like the monologue in that last season, or that when the 11th Street Gang, my brain, are all together, and 80's talking to him because she's like, no, you're not complete bullshit. Like all of that, that's your mini Scooby moment, but not in the Scooby way. Yeah. That it's all like everything's happy and, happy and fun. I think for me, it reminds me so much, like that Motley Crue so much in those moments. It totally reminds me of freaking Doom Patrol. Like it totally reminds me of how those characters came together.
Another show I have to finish. I'm so sorry. And I didn't finish Titans either. I was skimming through. I didn't even get to see your character. I had to read about it. So I will now go watch it. Because your character was on, was it later on in the show?
It's season 1, episode 9 is where we first see me.
I think I haven't watched it. When did that show come out? 2020?
2019.
So it's been, yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm making a commitment to you. I will go watch it because I fell off and then I realized Titans because when I was thumbing through that illustrated history of the DC comic that I was telling you about, they showed Hawk and Dove in that, and that was Minka Kelly and the awesome Alan Richardson. They played that role in Titans.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. So I got to go back and like I said, I'm on a DC. The nights, not that I'm trying to plug HBO Max because they don't give me any money, but all of this great DC content is there.
Yeah.
And a lot of their original stuff that they've made in the last decade, which is far better than the movies they were making 10 years ago, is I would go check it out. But I digress.
Yeah.
All right. Any other missed opportunities from you that you looked at? You're like, oh God, I wish they would have.
I loved seeing Michael Rooker playing. Was it Red Swallow or something? Like,
I feel like Red something.
Red Swallow. I think it was Red Swallow.
It was Red something. It was Red something.
And part of me is like, I always like some more Rooker. Like, I feel like they could have used him a little bit more. But I also recognize that like Gunn always uses people that he like his brother. Like they have that moment in the beginning where they're interviewing him, and it's like fill-in, and like they're interviewing the Justice League or to see if they can actually get in. And so, but I love cameos like that. I mean, I love cameos like that.
Yeah.
But I sometimes feel like they could have been threaded a little bit better, a little bit. I think.
Yeah.
But I'm also I'm also easy that way sometimes.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'm trying to think. No, off the top of my head, I'm like, no, I'm just going to be, I'm like, part of me is like, I don't know. What would you say? What do you think was the missed opportunity?
My missed, I did. Yeah. What I had said about the edit, the Snyderverse edit out. I feel like that was the only thing that I could really think of. And then in scoring it, I had my one minor disappointment. But any other thoughts before we give a rating out of 10 for the season?
I wish it had come out sooner. Like that would be my thing again. I'm like, why is this taking so long? I'm like, oh, because he's just became the head of DC and like what? Right. I was like more sooner now.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see what happens. I'm really curious about what happens next. Because you have the Amanda Waller series, and there is a series coming out with her. But it was I think already shooting, so I don't know. But again, it could already be shooting, and they could have already threaded all this stuff in. So I'm really just curious to see where it goes or where these characters go. Because while this show may be over, I don't think any of these characters are going away.
Oh yeah, no, and I think that was contention, is that they'll definitely proliferate out, because you're right. There's the Waller series coming up where you could very easily see. Obviously ads being her daughter could very easily show up there, but there's also a Clayface show coming, the Batman coming out. Yeah. And in Creature Commandos, there was a cameo from Batman from the Shadows. So there is a Batman in this universe that is around and doing stuff.
Right.
But we haven't met him yet, and it's not Robert Pattinson. That's separate. Yeah. That's that whole the Penguin and that's all a different Earth or whatever it is. Yeah. It's not. Exactly.
Oh, how do we get all the Earths?
Too many Earths. That's why they just give them numbers and letters. Earth X and Earth 12 or whatever it is. All right, score it 1 out of 10. And I don't want to say defend your answer, but just give me some spice on it.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5. It's almost a 9. There were points during the season where I was like, what? It didn't hold my attention always. And that could be on me, but the first season I was like riveted. But it also could just be that I'm in a different place where I in the world or whatever. And also I never want to go too gleamy, but I think it's a must see. And again, I want 2 more episodes. I wanted more than 8.
Right.
And wanted more than 8. And so that I could get to know these characters even more so, because in knowing them, I love them. So
absolutely.
Give me more and you will get a 9 or a 10.
Give it to me. Well, I had 2. This was a 9 for me, and I had 2 things that I was kind of not great on. I love, I'm a dude and I love seeing naked people run around, but the whole orgy segment in the first episode, was super pointless.
Yeah.
Potentially, well, this is Chris at his rock bottom, so he's in the middle of a sex party. But I'm like, the rest of the season was really about his tender heart and the tender hearts of everybody else. And I'm like, the orgy just didn't make any sense for me. So that was one thing I didn't absolutely love on. And we were talking about Foxy Shazam and that song, which is that song plays in this house or in my car probably at least once a day. I'm crazy for it.
See, you got the wigwam like I had.
Yeah, exactly. I got the Oh Lord, I got the Foxy Shazam. And Gunn obviously loves the shit out of him. He said, I saw a quote. He says, well, they're the best band in the world. If he was being satirical, I have no idea. He obviously likes them very, very much. But the fact that they had to perform the song within the show, that whole like last 10 minutes of the episode, and then that was 5 minutes of it, I'm like, it was like an enormous wish fulfillment kind of. He's like, well, I get to plug this thing in there.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe cutting it down might not have been such a bad idea. So it was a pacing deal. But again, we're building up. Part of it was kind of building up your Scooby-Doo moment so that everything can come crashing down, which is exactly what happened. But yeah, this was appointment viewing for me. It was on 9:00 Eastern. I won't say I built my day around it, but it was like days of old where you're like, must see Thursday.
Yep.
I remember back in the 90s with Friends and Seinfeld, and you were like, well, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Or I set my VCR or something. You watch it on Friday morning.
Or you're like,
something.
has it dropped yet? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Like the next episode of Welcome to Derry drops at 3 a.m. It drops at midnight out there on the coast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're a fan. The first episode was totally nuts.
Yeah,
totally
I haven't watched
nuts.
it yet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, I won't say a damn thing.
Okay.
Well, that's it. This has been awesome. And you are the first, you're the first actor that I've had as a co-host.
Oh.
Doing a normal one of shows. I do have a segment where I do interviews. Probably would love to have you back for that. I would love to learn more about your backstory.
Yeah.
So let's get that set up. But in the meantime, where can people find you out there?
Best place to find me really is on Instagram, I think. And my handle is at SKISAYS, Ski Says, because my last name is really hard.
No, I gotcha. I'll put it in the show notes. People don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds awesome. Well, very good. Well, listeners, as always, you can find me on the big socials, all of them as at the C3, THECEETHREE. And I forgot at the top of the show, I was too excited. I wanted to give some love and respect to the folks over on our Secret Friends Unite Patreon, over at patreon.com/Secret Friends Unite. First week for free. You get early shows, exclusive shows. A separate channel on our Discord. First week is free, half off your first month, and you stay on board for as little $2 a month. So I slipped that in at the end. But my guest has been Stephanie. Damn it, I already took it down. Say the last name again.
Check your house keys.
Check your house key.
Yeah.
Oh my God, your own theme song. I absolutely love it. Stephanie, would love to have you back. Thank you for being here.
Than's for having me.
Greatly appreciate it. And listeners, we will check you out in the future. Thanks very much.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.